This is Zcab, a basic prototype for a game that I made in only 24 hours, and as I've never released a proper game before, I wanted to turn that prototype into a fully functional, complete title. So I sat down and planned out how I wanted to go about this and what kind of game I wanted it to be like. The current state of the game is basically this sandbox. You can drive around, mow zombies down, and randomly around the map there's these passengers you pick up from one spot and drop them to another. It's not really the most engaging, but there's something. The car mechanics for one are actually quite fun. It drifts nicely in a sort of arcadey way, it's a bit floaty, and it works well running these zombies down. So how exactly am I going to take this and turn it into something that is ready to release on Steam? Well, the main focus was supposed to be picking up passengers with a side of zombie killing, but now the main focus is going to be zombie killing with a side of picking up passengers. Instead of Crazy Taxi, this will play more like Cookie Clicker. Your zombie kill counter is your currency, and as you get more kills, you unlock more weapons to use. These weapons then kill zombies faster, so you can get more kills and get more weapons. It's a very simple cycle. And then, scattered around the map, will be events that can grant you bonuses and unique weapons. To begin with, the only weapon you have is your car, and you just plow through the crowds. But then, after you've sent enough zombies over the hood, you can purchase your first weapon. The weapons don't actually exist in the game as player controlled, so that's the first thing I'm going to work on. All I need to make is a simple twin stick shooter styled weapon. Now, these are super easy to program, so I'm just going to whip that up and boom, the first gun in the game. Now, the zombie death toll is rising even faster, which will earn you more confirmed kills to buy new upgrades. I plan on having a whole bunch of these weapons, but for now this test weapon will have to stay until I get the garage system made, which is somewhere down the list of things to do. So let's tick some of them off. Every good game has a well-designed, thought-out map, and I know that my game is no exception. So I could spend ages looking at city layouts and consider the real-world choices that go into planning the roads, buildings, and waterways. Or I could just look at my hometown on Google Maps and create a blocky version of that. Take a guess at which one of these I did. Yeah, so I just opened Google Maps and got to drawing an outline. As the map is grid-based, I just had to draw single pixels to represent the roads, squaring off any bends or curves. This would be a whole lot easier if I grew up somewhere like Brooklyn, but anyway, I got the main flow of the roads down, filled in all of the residential and natural areas, made a little beach, and now it's time to bring this into Unity to draw the tile map with. I just dragged the image into the game, got it to the correct scale so that 1 pixel was 1 tile wide, set it behind the tile map to trace over, and got to drawing. And after all that was done, I now have a naturally flowing map with a town section, a main road going inland, and coastal route that loops at the top to meet the road again. And already, driving around this is a whole lot better than what I had before. The tiles themselves still need work, a lot of this is placeholder, but it's looking like a really nice design, especially with the river and canal flowing through towards the bottom here, meaning you have to drive across the bridges to get to them. The next step in the map design will be to add in all of the buildings and decorations about the place, as well as blocking off the boundaries, but that will come a bit later. Currently in the game, there's stats for your money, customer pickup, and zombie kills. But as 2 of those things are scrapped, I need to rewrite the code just to make it focused on the kill count. I've also got this temporary UI in place, but if you take a look at something like Cookie Clicker, your cookie count is front and center in big text, so that's what's needed here. At the top is going to be a large panel for your kills, so you can always easily see it. But we need something to use these kills on, so it's time for the garage. How I want this to work is something similar to the Los Santos customs in GTA, where you have to physically drive into them to access them. And there will be a few of these dotted around the map, just so you aren't stuck in a certain area just because the garage is there. So the car already has a flag for it if it's moving or not, and so the interaction scripts will be once you're stationary within the trigger collider, you can interact with it. So let's add a box that if you drive inside, it brings up a basic UI. This interaction system is basically the same as the one I'm using in Among the Graves. Hey, look at that up there. It's a link to a devlog. Wow. So again, pretty easy to implement. The garage has an object for interaction, and the car has an object as the interactor. They both have trigger colliders on them on their own layer, so they don't mess with anything else. And as there's going to be quite a few interactions in the game, I'm going to be using inheritance. So any object that is interactable has one of these types of classes. I could have also used an interface for this, which works in a similar way, but is different. So yeah, parent interaction class and object-specific child classes. Very simple programming stuff. I'm programming probably the least efficient way to do this to begin with, but just as a demo, this is fine. I wouldn't possibly release a game with spaghetti in it. So there we go. You can drive inside this red car thing, and if I hit E, it opens this basic UI up. And this is where the shop will go. I don't have that yet, so let's design a nice looking menu. The main aspect of the shop is to purchase new weaponry, but there will also be other upgrades to grab to increase your rate of zombie killing. At the beginning of the game, zombies will be very scarce, as it's the beginning of the apocalypse, so there will be a limit to the amount of zombies on the map at any one time, and also the rate at which they respawn, starting off very slowly, and then as you level up the horde bait, there's more and more of them to turn into lovely piles of mush. If you look at a game like Cookie Clicker, again, the numbers start to get a little silly. At the beginning, you're clicking for one cookie at a time, but then after a while, that number becomes a little bigger, like 1.62e to the power of 74, kind of big. This game's not going to go quite that mad, but I think if the game started to pay you extra for zombie kills, it means that you should focus on actually playing the game and not mindlessly grinding, so you can upgrade this multiplier to get more buck for your bang. Wait, what? It's all good saying these things, but let's actually do it. I'm going to base the UI off of something I ripped off of before, Storm the House, which, funnily enough, has a shop where their main focus is guns, but also has some fluff on the side. To avoid completely ripping off their UI though, I'm going to rip off my own Unreal Defense UI, which is a rip-off of Storm the House, but that was past me that stole it, so that doesn't count. So let's get to blocking this out in Unity panels. Okay, and there we go. Very basic UI that is somewhat functional. I haven't got the guns in the game yet, so all it does is print to console, but I will hook that up when I've made them. Already, this game is taking shape. I don't want to cover absolutely everything I'm adding to the game in this video. I'll go over the rest in the next video, but the final piece I'm going to add today is the zombie upgrades, which means tweaking the code for the spawner. Currently, there's a fixed limit on how many zombies can appear at any one time, and zombies respawn every time the timer reaches 0, which is a random time between 0.2 and 1 second. This is one of the values that will be controlled by the upgrades, so delete that random bit, and instead the spawner is going to have a timer mod value. The spawn time will be calculated by having the base time multiplied by 1 minus the mod, being a variable between 0 and nearly 1. I don't actually know how much I'm going to cap this value yet. There's already a value for the max zombie count, so that'll be easy to just adjust with the shop upgrades. Just add this to the value directly and that's done. That's really the extent of the changes, but if I go into the game here, you can see this in effect with these lovely sliders in the inspector and how it affects them in the game. Lovely stuff. And that is where I'm going to leave this project for now. I'm hoping to get the next devlog done pretty quickly, so you shouldn't have to wait too long for that. And hey, maybe there'll even be something playable by then? You'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what features you want to see in this game in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.